Welcome back to the Means Report, everybody. As I mentioned, we record our broadcast usually on Thursdays, and this time that falls on December 1st, which is World AIDS Day. You'll notice, though, throughout the weekend, there will be World AIDS Day festivities going on throughout the CSRA, and it gives us an important opportunity to talk about AIDS and HIV, how it is continuing to impact this community, and what is being done to make the community a healthier, safer place to live. And one of the men leading that effort is David Thompson. He's the community outreach specialist at Georgia Health Sciences University, and David's been kind enough to join us here on the set of the Means Report. David, I know you're busy, just as our previous guest was, unfortunately, dealing with HIV and AIDS, but the work you do is so important, and I thank you for taking a break with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's first of all talk about the numbers here. The numbers that we hear nationally, about 1.2 million people living with AIDS, about 1 in 5 has no idea they have it. That's about 240,000. Locally, you're looking at about 1,300 people, most of them on the Georgia side of the Savannah River, who live with AIDS. You're leaving here and going to do more testing. Tell the viewers how often and how involved that is, and if you have a lot of people coming through your door still daily to get tested.
Actually, we do. I was at Walgreens on Peach Orchard Road last night and actually did 9 tests in about 3 hours.
Wow.
I will be at Mercy Center on 15th Street this afternoon doing testing. Have already had people calling the office this morning asking if we were going to be there and what time. So I'm expecting a pretty good turnout then. We usually test in about 4 or 5 different locations each week. With the Georgia Health Sciences, the testing is always free. Which is a cool thing, and the test has gotten a lot easier too.
How do you do it?
We do it with a mouth swab, so no needles involved, and we process the test right there, and we're actually able to give people their result 20 minutes from the time that they walk in the door.
Who has AIDS? Who's most likely to get it? Are we still talking drug users and promiscuous people with a promiscuous sex life, as we heard when this first was presented to us about 30 years ago?
No, our idea of who actually gets the virus has changed a whole lot during that time. We now know that pretty much the only qualification for membership is being human. You know, it's in 10 years of doing this testing, I have diagnosed everybody from the teenager that had had sex once in their lifetime to the 91-year-old who had found themselves single again and decided to get back out into the world and didn't realize that they needed to protect themselves.
Wow.
So,
what happens when someone does test positive? What do you do? How can you help?
At Georgia Health Sciences University, we have the rule that anyone that needs HIV care will get it regardless of their insurance status. So we move them into care in our clinic or in another clinic if they wish. And actually, I help them through that whole process and kind of become their best friend for a while and hold their hand through it, because we know it can be a scary time.
Is it a death sentence?
No. The people that we're getting into care now, as long as they get into care, keep their doctor's appointments, take their medicine when the doctor tells them to, they'll die of old age unless they get hit by a bus.
Can you make the virus decrease to almost undetectable levels, as we've seen with basketball star Magic Johnson, or is it always going to be there at some level, and he's just an exception?
No. That's actually the rule now instead of the exception, and that's a great question. With the medicines that we've got now, when we get somebody on those medicines, usually within 8 weeks of them starting medicine, they go from having sometimes millions of copies of virus in every teaspoon of their body fluids down to fewer than 20 copies.
So when it gets to that level, is it really just the fear of some other illness sneaking into your slightly compromised immune system? Is it that versus being worried about AIDS killing you? Well,
actually, the good thing is once we get the virus under control in someone's system, if their immune system is weakened, we usually see a rebound and their immune system actually heals itself. If their immune system has never gotten weakened, it stays perfectly normal for the rest of their life as long as they take the medicine.
David, let's talk about awareness. When this pandemic first presented itself many years ago, there was a push for safe sex, there was a push for new needles, and you don't hear as much about it anymore. What would you say has happened to the level of awareness since we first heard so much about AIDS and HIV?
Well, I think one of the problems is now because we are doing such a good job of caring for people, you don't see it. It's I joke that HIV could probably stand for hidden in view now, because it's not something that you see like you would 20 years ago. And that's just it. With the numbers, when you think about it, about 1 in 300 people in the United States are living with HIV. So most of us probably know someone that has the disease, whether or not they've ever shared that information with us.
What are some symptoms that you might have that might compel you to go get tested versus just, oh, this is a flu or the cold, I'm going to be fine? How do you know, uh-oh, better go get swabbed?
There really is no specific pattern that says this is HIV. That's why what we actually encourage now is that everyone get tested starting at age 13. Just yearly. We get our blood pressure checked, we get our blood sugar checked, we should get an HIV test also.
Tell me about the people you see. I know you mentioned that you've seen a wide range of people over your career. These days, though, when you have the 9 who show up last night, or you have the people who might show up today, do they look the same? Is it from all parts of society? Is it just the person? Oh, I figured that person would probably get tested for AIDS. Or would you just kind of look and say, wow, they come from all over?
They really do come from all over. There's no pattern, and that's one of the things we're starting to see. The message is getting out there about testing, so we're starting to see more and more people from all walks of life that are coming to see us to get a test, realizing that just because the only partner they may have had was their late husband, that doesn't count them out.
Right.
And
it seems like places in the community have been willing to step up and serve as testing sites. Y'all are all over the place.
10 years ago when I started doing the testing, it was very difficult for us to find places that would let us come and do testing, especially at their business.
Sure.
And now we test at Pyramid Music, we test at the filling station, Brewster's Ice Cream in North Augusta. And in fact, when you get tested there, they actually give everyone a free pint of ice cream to thank them for coming out.
Certain Walgreens even.
Walgreens. I was at Peach Orchard Road last night. I'm going to be at Wrightsboro Road later this month. We go out to Thompson in their Waynesboro location and their Clearwater location also.
Well, you all are very busy, and it's for a wonderful cause. You're continuing to help this community in so many ways, and David, I appreciate your hard work, and I appreciate the awareness that you continue to bring to HIV and AIDS, and especially the importance of being aware of testing, and I hope you've done that today. I feel that you have, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Anytime.
We appreciate the help getting the word out.
Absolutely. On World AIDS Day and year-round, David Thompson and Georgia Health Sciences University fighting the fight. When we come back, we'll tell you how you can shape future editions of the Means Report and stay in touch with us year-round when we come back in just a moment.